to see another important practical aspects of molecular biology or recombinant DNA technology, that is nothing but agarose gel electrophoresis. So, before going to agarose gel electrophoresis, let us discuss what is an electrophoresis. All of you know that what is electrophoresis. What is electrophoresis? It is the movement of particles under an electrical field is called what? Electrophoresis. Okay, so the particles will be moved based upon the electrical field. That particular process is called electrophoresis. So this is agarose gel electrophoresis. So it is an important technique to detect nucleic acids. The observation of the nucleic acids, once you are isolating a DNA, once you are isolating an RNA, once you are isolating a plasmid, it is mainly used to detect whether the isolated plasmid, whether the plasmids are isolated, whether nucleic acids are present or not. For that particular process, we are using what? Agarose gel electrophoresis. Okay, so once you run these nucleic acids in the electrophoresis, we will show you how to run the nucleic acids in the electrophoresis. So once it is run, you can detect whether these nucleic acids are present there or not, as well as you can use blotting techniques. We will discuss about blotting techniques later in the later practical sessions. By using blotting techniques, you can extract these nucleic acids from the agarose gel. Right? So, the principal compound which we are using in agarose gel electrophoresis is nothing but agarose. It is a purified form of what? Agar. Okay? So, all of us might have used agar in the laboratory for the preparation of different nutrient medias. So, the little more purified form of agar is nothing but what? Agarose. Okay? So, what's this? It is a polymer. Once you boil this particular agarose and cool it down, so when you are boiling it, what will happen? It will be completely dissolved in the water or buffer, whatever we are using. It will be completely dissolved, and later once you cool it, what will happen? It will be solidified. So that is the property of what? Agarose. So I told you that we are using agarose, we are not using agar over here, because the agarose is a purified form which will give a particular pore size which is suitable for running of what? The nucleic acid. For example, if you prepare 1% agarose, the pore size which you are getting in the gel is around 100 nanometer. So which is apt for what? For the running of the nucleic acid. That's why we are using agarose. Okay, so I told you the agarose has to be boiled. Once you boil it and then you cool it, what will happen? It will get solidified. So when you want to prepare this agarose gel, you cannot prepare by using a normal distilled water. Okay, there are so many compounds which are present, ions and other minerals which are present in the distilled water will interfere with the movement of the nucleic acid or the stability of the nucleic acid. So when I am talking about nucleic acid, you have to keep it in mind that it will be plasmid or DNA or it will be RNA. So when you are using such a purified biomolecule in an electrophoretic unit, so if any unstable components which are present, that may interfere with the stability of what? The nucleic acid. Therefore, whenever you are preparing the agarose, you have to prepare by using a suitable buffer. Okay, there are different buffers which are available for this. It can be a acetate buffer, it can be a borate buffer, it can be a citrate buffer. So different types of buffers are used based upon the type of work which you are carrying out. Okay, so in today's practical, the buffer which we are going to use is nothing but TAE buffer. It is tris acetate EDTA buffer. Clear? So the tris acetate EDTA buffer, this is the buffer which we are going to use for the preparation of the agarose gel. So if you see TAE buffer, the principal components present in the TAE buffer includes 2 molar tris base, 1 molar acetate, 10 millimolar EDTA and distilled water. Okay, so tris base, acetate, EDTA and distilled water, these are all the components which we are using for the preparation of TAE buffer. So once the TAE buffer is prepared, then this particular buffer only has to be used for what? The agarose, preparation of the agarose gel. Okay, so we will see how exactly the agarose gel can be prepared and how we can load the sample into that and how we can detect the nucleic acid from the agarose gel. So as I told you, the two important components required for agarose gel electrophoresis is nothing. First one is TAE buffer and the second one is agarose. Okay, so you know the composition, just we have discussed what is the composition of TAE buffer. So based upon this composition, we have prepared TAE buffer. The TAE buffer is ready now. Now what we have to do is we have to prepare 1% agarose solution. Means 1 gram of agarose should be dissolved in 100 ml of TAE buffer. It all depends upon how much requirement you have. Okay, it can be 50 ml, it can be 100 ml, it depends upon how much the utility is there. So we are going to prepare 1% of agarose solution. So 1 gram of agarose is already weighed. This is going to be transferred it into a pre-prepared TAE buffer. Okay, so it should be properly dissolved now. It should be properly dissolved. To dissolve it, what we are going to do, we are going to, so 1% agarose, we are going to heat it to dissolve it completely. So this has been boiled and the agarose has been dissolved completely.
See the agarose is dissolved.
See, this is what the solution agarose gel what we have prepared. It has been boiled and you can see that it is a very clear solution. Okay, take care that there should not be any air bubbles. This will interrupt with your proceedings of your experimentation. The next step is we have to add ethidium bromide into the gel. Once you have already prepared the gel, into that you have to add ethidium bromide. Ethidium bromide is a component which will intercalate with your DNA. Right? If the DNA is present, it will intercalate with the DNA and it is for the visualization purpose. So once it is intercalated with the DNA and if you observe under UV transilluminator, we will see that in the later stages, it will give a particular color, an orange color band will be produced. So after preparation of this agarose gel, you have to add ethidium bromide into that. 50 ml of ethidium bromide is added in 100 ml of agarose gel.
Can you show this?
The ethidium bromide is getting mixed up with the agarose gel. You can see a red color. The color of the ethidium bromide is red. So after the preparation of the gel, now we have to cast the gel. Means you have to prepare the agarose gel. For that, we will be using the casting tray. This is the casting tray and the casting tray should be used with a comb. You can see that various teats are available. Okay, so these teats helps in the formation of the well. Okay, so the casting tray has to be properly fixed first. So this is how you are going to fix the casting tray. Okay, this is the apparatus which is used for casting. So once these knobs are tightened, if you pour even water also, what will happen is the water will not come out because it will be completely leak proof. So now what we are going to do, we are going to prepare the gel. So already the agarose gel is ready. Now it has to be poured inside the casting tray. Up to a level of the teeth, it has to be poured. Care should be taken that there should not be any air bubble that will interfere with the running of your genomic DNA or plasmid DNA, whatever you are doing it. So the molten agarose is poured into the casting tray and it should be kept for some time, around 15 to 20 minutes to cool it up. So as I told you, once it is cooled up, it will form a gel. So this is the plasmid DNA and genomic DNA which we have extracted and stored in the fridge. In the next step, what we have to do is we have to transfer 10 ml of the extracted plasmid into a fresh Eppendorf tube. This is the extracted plasmid. Which is going to be transferred it into a fresh Eppendorf tube. 10 ml is transferred, that is plasmid DNA which has been extracted already. The same way we have extracted genomic DNA also. So same way 10 ml of genomic DNA is going to be transferred to a fresh Eppendorf tube. So these are all the two Eppendorf tube. The one tube is containing plasmid, 10 ml of plasmid, and another tube contains 10 ml of genomic DNA. Right? Now we have to check whether the genomic DNA and the plasmid DNA is present or not. That is the major purpose which we are doing agarose gel electrophoresis. So for that, you have to transfer 5 ml of gel loading dye into both the tubes. Okay, you are going to take 5 ml of gel loading dye in both the tubes. So the gel loading dye, it is actually a staining dye. It contains major components as bromophenol blue, xylene xylol, and either sucrose in water or ficol in water or glycerol in water. Okay, so what is the purpose of having these principal ingredients in gel loading dye? Yes, bromophenol blue acts as a tracking dye. I will show you how you can track the movement of the DNA by using bromophenol blue. And one more dye which is present there is another tracking dye which is present there is nothing but xylene xylol, okay, which gives a pale yellowish color. Bromophenol blue will give a blue color, a dark blue color, and it contains sucrose or ficol or glycerol. Okay, any one of this ingredient will be present. So what is the purpose of having this particular components is it will give density for the DNA. You are going to load the DNA into the agarose gel in a buffer. Okay, we will see how exactly you are going to do it. So when you are transferring this DNA, whether it is a plasmid or a genomic DNA, it should not come out from the well. Okay, so once you transfer, it should have some density. So that density ingredient will be given to the DNA by using sucrose, ficol or glycerol. The next important thing is these components will go and attach into the DNA. Once it is attached into the DNA, any voltage fluctuation, see initially the electrophoresis is done at 50 volt. Then it has to be increased a little more, that 100 volt. Then it has to be increased a little more if it is required. So when this voltage fluctuation happens, nothing should happen to your nucleic acid. There should not be any breakage or any damage or any instability should not happen to the DNA. So that also will be taken care of these ingredients like sucrose, ficol and glycerol. So this is the setup of electrophoresis. It is a horizontal or submarine gel electrophoresis unit. So you can see that there are two power cords are there. One is in red in color, another in black in color. One is positive, the red what you are seeing is positive, and the other one is negative, that is the black one. Okay, so this has been connected into a power pack and the power pack is connected into the main switchboard. So you can see that various voltages are there. So this is to control the voltage. Initially it should be in lower voltage, then we have to increase the voltage once the DNA is moved from its well. Now the gel is ready. So after cooling it could have been solidified. It should be carefully removed from the gel casting tray. Care should be taken, there should not be any breakages in the well. It will interfere with the running of the genomic DNA or plasmid DNA. So carefully you are going to remove the gel from the, then it should be placed into the tank. The tank contains tank buffer, or you can tell it as TI buffer, the same buffer what we have used for the preparation of the agarose gel. The same buffer can be used as a tank buffer. So you can see that we have kept a comp and the comp has been removed. So there only you are going to load your genomic DNA or the plasmid DNA. Okay, you can make out some wells, some holes which are there. That is nothing but the wells. So you should take care that the charge of the DNA is nothing but negative. Okay, so wherever the black wire is there, that is the negative charge, that is nothing but your cathode. In that particular position you have to keep the well. Okay, because once you switch on, what will happen? There will be movement of this genomic DNA or plasmid DNA under the influence of electric field. That's what your gel electrophoresis. So the sample, the biomolecule should be kept in the negative side. The gel is ready now. Now we have to load the plasmid DNA and genomic DNA. So the first thing which we are going to load is plasmid DNA. So 10 ml of plasmid DNA should be transferred it into the well. It is going to be transferred in the first well. You can make out the wells which are created there. In the first well, you are going to carefully transfer the plasmid DNA. Okay, so the well is filled with the plasmid DNA and gel loading die. So as already discussed, that will not come out. See, you can see that the buffer is covered over the gel. This genomic DNA or plasmid DNA will not come out from the well because we have a density ingredients like sucrose, glycerol and sucrose components. So that will give density for the plasmid DNA so that it will not come out from the well. So the well size is around 20 ml. So you are going to add around 10 to 15 ml. That is the maximum amount which you are going to add. It should not be completely filled. The same way the genomic DNA is going to be transferred it into the second well. Make sure that you have kept it in the right position. That is the biomolecules like your nucleic acid should be kept in the negative side, and the voltage should be minimum. It should start with 50, because once the nucleic acid comes out of the well, then we have to go for it will take another 20 to 30 minutes. We have to increase the voltage. Now your sample is ready, which has been loaded in agarose gel, and it will start moving.
As we can see.
See, now you can see that the DNA molecules have come out of the well. It started spreading. So once this has happened, you can go for increase in voltage. Already we have put it in 50. It has to be increased into 100 for the fast moving. Okay, you can make out over here. The electricity is passed throughout the buffer. You can see the bubbles over there, and the DNA is running over there. To avoid any sort of settlement of dust particles and any contaminants, it has to be closed till it runs 3/4 of the gel. You can observe that there are two different colors in the gel after running under electrophoretic apparatus. So this is nothing but the tracking dyes which we were talking about. It means that your genomic DNA and the plasmid DNA has run, means the electrophoresis has happened. Okay, so once this is over, we have to take out this gel and we have to observe whether the plasmid DNA or genomic DNA is present there or not. Right, now we are going to take out, switch off the power pack and removing the gel for the observation. So this is the dark room wherein which UV transilluminator is kept. The transilluminator has to be in dark place because under UV radiation we have to see the fluorescence or any sort of phosphorescence, then the dark background will give a better result. That's why it is kept in the dark room. And now we are transferring the gel into the transilluminator. Yeah, carefully without breaking, you are going to transfer the gel into the transilluminator. Okay, so there is a cover which has to be properly placed over this, because you know that UV radiation which will harm us, therefore it should be completely covered, okay, before observing it in the UV radiation. Okay, so now it is properly placed in the illuminator. Okay, now we are going to switch on the UV radiation. Okay, there are two things you can see. This is the first band. Okay, this is the second band. One dark band you can see, one light band you can see. You can just compare the distance traveled by one band to the second band. The first band was nothing but what? A plasmid, and the second band is nothing but the genomic DNA. Right? So as we have discussed, the plasmid DNA is a small covalently closed circular DNA. The density is very low, means molecular weight is very low, but genomic DNA is a huge DNA, so its molecular weight is comparatively much higher. So this high molecular weight genomic DNA runs slower comparing to plasmid DNA. So as we have discussed, in the agarose gel there is ethidium bromide. The ethidium bromide will intercalate with the genomic DNA and plasmid DNA. So under UV radiation you can see that orange color bands. You can just have a look of two bands. One is the first lane is nothing but plasmid, and the second lane is genomic DNA. This is how the process of agarose gel electrophoresis is carried out. Thank you.